Hey everyone, thanks for coming back to the BNS channel. I want to talk about something that's a little uncomfortable to talk about, literally. So, if you want to know about dumping after weight loss surgery, then hang tight. Dumping after weight loss surgery is a real thing. So first of all, what is dumping? Dumping is when you have a smaller stomach that was created by bariatric surgery. It typically happens with gastric bypass. I have heard that it happens with sleeve patients as well, but my experience is through gastric bypass, so that's what I'm going to share my experience with. I'm not a doctor. I don't know it all. I'm only sharing experience from what I've researched and what I've experienced, like gone through myself. So dumping is when you have a smaller stomach and it's rerouted to another portion of your intestines. So you're bypassing the stomach and you're going directly into the intestines. So what happens is when you eat high sugar, high carbohydrates, maybe you eat too fast, maybe you eat too much, maybe you drink while you're eating, those are all things that are going to cause dumping. And what happens is your stomach empties too quickly into your intestines and causes a lot of discomfort. And some of the discomfort can come from diarrhea. It can come from stomach pains. It can come from nausea, vomiting. It can cause sweats. Some people get cold sweats. You can get heart palpitations, making your heart beat faster. You can literally feel one of those things, none of those things, or all of those things. I typically experience the palpitations first, and that usually tells me that I'm about ready to have an unpleasant experience. And then from palpitations, it goes to either nausea and wanting to vomit. Most of the times I don't vomit. I think I'd feel better if I did, but I get nauseous. And then a lot of times I can get a headache. And then I definitely have experienced the stomach discomfort and the diarrhea. And to the point where you almost can feel it going through the entire process of your intestines, and then it comes out as diarrhea. So, like I said, this is not a fun topic to have, but it is a legitimate topic. And I'll be honest with you, I kind of like that fact that I do that, because it's a tool for me to remind me not to eat the wrong foods, not to eat too fast, not to gorge, right? To pig out and eat too much. It's kind of a reminder to not do that again. So if I have that experience, it's usually because I've had something that either was new and I was trying to implement it as part of my diet now, or I knew that it was the wrong thing. For example, ice cream for me does it every time. I get palpitations, I get an upset stomach, I get nauseous, and typically it will end up in diarrhea. And we're talking about it starts usually 10 minutes after, up to 30 minutes after, but it, like within an hour or two, it could have gone through your system completely. How do you get past it? 1, don't do the things that are going to cause it. 2, lay down, take a load off, chill out, relax. Some people sleep it off. I can't do that. Usually within 30 minutes to an hour, it's passed and I'm feeling better. But it's a legit thing. Dumping is definitely a legit thing. And I am, what am I? 14 months out from surgery, and I still get it. So, and typically I get it from, my biggest culprit to dumping is eating too fast. I have such a bad habit of eating too fast, and that's such a culture-driven thing. You know, how many jobs have we had that you only get 30 minutes to eat? How many places have you been that, you know, you have to hurry up to eat your lunch or your dinner because of the kids? Or, I mean, it's just such a society of eating fast, and that was always a big part of my life. Sitting down and eating a meal with somebody at the table was a very few and far between occurrence. I usually eat at my desk. Sometimes you'll see me standing at my counter eating my lunch because I'm constantly going. And so it's a horrible, horrible habit that's hard to break. It's getting better because I'm being much more mindful. The other cause to my dumping would be, at this point, I'm trying to incorporate things into my diet that I hadn't before. I noticed that it happens with greasy foods, and so I have to be very careful how things are cooked. If they're super saucy or super oily and greasy, it will make me nauseous for sure, and I'll get palpitations, heart palpitations. Very sweet, sugary things like ice cream. I have found that Halo is my best and only way to eat ice cream that does not cause me issues. Regular ice cream, forget it. It kills me. So that will never happen again. I'm learning, and that's a tool that helps me learn so that I just won't go back to that product or item or decision. But dumping is a very real thing, and it's part of the journey. It's part of what they talk about for us when we talk about having bariatric surgery. I know for sure gastric bypass patients have dumping for sure. Like I said, I've heard of sleeve patients having dumping, but it's part of it. And so the best thing I can tell you to do to not have dumping is to not do the things that cause dumping. And again, it's eating too fast, eating too much, eating the wrong foods. And typically the wrong foods are going to be greasy, sugary, fatty, like high fat, like bad fat. You know, like fried chicken. That's probably a big no-no. And depending on how it's fried, I suppose it would be okay. Like air fried probably works a lot better for people. But if you were going to put it in the oven or actually put it in a fryer, that's a big no-no. And I've even had chicken that was fried that wasn't breaded, and that still made me so sick. I've had chicken on the grill that made me sick because it was super greasy. I don't know how they cooked it, but that's the other thing too. When you go out and you have somebody else's food, it's very hard to know how they cooked it, and so you got to be careful, you know. But if you get it on your plate and you see a little pool of grease underneath it, then the likelihood of you having dumping is going to happen. You know, and honestly, there are some people that don't get dumping at all, and good for them, bad for them. You know, good for them that they don't have to get sick, but bad for them because they're not being reminded of the things that they shouldn't be eating. So my suggestion is to just stay away from the things that you shouldn't. You know, I would say alcohol is part of that. Any sweets that are made with sugar are going to be part of that. I have learned that sugar-free items are doable. I mean, there's a whole diabetic world out there for sugar-free stuff, and they taste great. So if I need a little snack of something, then I pick a sugar-free chocolate or a sugar-free Werther's drop. Those are my favorite go-tos, is the sugar-free Werther's. I'll do a video someday about my go-tos, but yeah, so that's kind of what it is about dumping. I mean, I hope you learned a little bit, if anything, to stay away from that stuff if you're considering or had surgery. It's just par for the course. It's part of the journey, and it's an unfortunate response to a fortunate tool. Does that make sense? It's an unfortunate response. Getting sick is an unfortunate response to the tool of dumping. And the tool is to help you so that you don't eat the wrong things. All right? Hope you didn't find that too graphic, but I hope you found it useful. If you have any questions, post them in the comments below. I love that you guys subscribe to my channel. It shows me that you guys are supporting what I'm doing. Like the video if you found it helpful or useful or informational. And